And then we went to pray for one lady. I remember her name, Lungowe. As I began to lay hands, she just brought out her tongue. I said, my God, what is going on in this city? Just doing her tongue at me like a snake, a human being. Then that night, I heard one woman, it's a long story, but let me cut it short. One woman, I heard her cry. We had prayed for one woman who was crying in the night, so she stopped crying. But that night, she cried again. Somebody said to me, get up and pray. Just, I'm tired in the morning. Lord, I'm tired. You know I've been busy for you. It was as though, it was a small room. It was as though 100 men entered that room at the same time. And each of them put their hand on me. I couldn't breathe. Struggle. From that 3 a.m. Labakuta mabahale. Lepota. There's some things you can't explain in English. Malisa pota makudi. Shidele mokutasa. Ebradi salimo toka. I said I have to survive tonight. Mbalika teja. If I let these people. Hey, lamuta makende luti. In the morning, I said to our host, he said, Pastor, did you sleep well? I said, no. He said, he came for you in the night. How did you know? No one told me. He said the witch doctors told him that they're coming for the pastor. Lendemo sikabarita bahala. Lepota site hili. And then, towards the end of last year, I was in Dubai. It's when I go out of town, I began to see that there's a pattern. When I go out of town, this Dubai one. Okay, what's that whole area called? Like Oriental principalities from around wherever they came from, Singapore, Asia, Dubai. It was like they came to visit, to say you are not going back to Nigeria. I was like I can't even describe it. It was like I was in a black hole. The attack on my mind, the attack on my body. Normally I would call maybe a prayer warrior or my wife. But I looked at the time, I said, no, the timing is different. Timing wouldn't work. Let me pray. I prayed. When I think back, it was what may have happened to Jesus when Satan came against him and took him through temptations. The room was locked. I could hear this. I hadn't heard the sound of cars passing by, but I heard the sound of cars. Opened the door to check, is this door properly locked? It was locked. It was as though they were telling me, you can jump down. They're telling me you are not going to come back. You're not going to go back to Nigeria. I prayed for an hour or so. I was getting tired and I just wasn't getting a breakthrough. And something said to me, look for a message of Apostle Arome Osayi. He had been mentioning you to me, but I just thought, yes, one day. I think I listened to one or two, but my mind has just been on so many other things. And so one of your messages came up, and I wanted to pray. So I listened to the message. It was one message where you said, fight as though your life depends on it. I said, this man is speaking. God is speaking to me through this man. So by the time you began to pray on that message, I then began to pray. I began to pray. And I fell asleep. I was using earphones so I could hear and pray in the night. When I woke up, maybe 20, 30 minutes later, the message was playing again It had reached the end and was playing again. So I waited for where you prayed. And by the time I began to pray, that's how the victory came. We had arranged to come in May. When I got back to Lagos, I called Honorable KO. I said, find out when I can go. I'm going sooner than we planned. I will still go in May, but I'm coming. Give me a date. I need to connect with this man that God used his voice to link up with mine to deal with those demons that night. You know, in the morning, the peace that came was like, was it not this battle you were fighting last night? So that before I came here, we had somehow connected spiritually. So that was God orchestrating a connection in his own peculiar, unusual way. And when I needed a voice to not just urge me, to come alongside me in prayer, it was your voice in tongues. I came to greet and to say thank you.